Idubbbz is a content creator who needs no introduction. Well known for the Content Cop series, a series that absolutely revolutionized what modern commentary is and of itself. But for those of you who have been paying attention for a while now, Ian has massively fallen off. From well-respected commentary YouTuber to a guy crying constantly about how he learned empathy at 30.
I think only in these past couple of years have I gained the ability empathy. And I'm very ashamed to admit that. It sounds really pathetic to say at the age of 32, I've acquired empathy.
Idubbbz has just been on the constant decline for a good while now, from his video making fun of his former fans, to his failed charity event that ended up giving $0 to kids with cancer. Idubbbz is just an absolutely pathetic wretch nowadays. Recently though, it seems like Ian has finally dug his grave. See, he's been in a feud with Ethan Klein for a little while now, which we'll get into in a bit, but the culmination of this fight is Ian deciding to desecrate the corpse of the Content Cop series and release a new one on Ethan Klein. The last Content Cop released was on Rice Gum back in 2017. Since then though, this series has long since been dormant for about 8 years, so logically you would think Ian would need a good reason as to why he would revive the series. And of course you'd be wrong. As it turns out, this Content Cop was made purely because Ian got his feelings hurt. It largely doesn't focus on Ethan's content at all, and instead is just Idubbbz being cringe, to be honest. The reason this Content Cop is happening goes back to the false claims Hassan and his cronies tried to push, where they said that Ethan had giardia and that his kids were allowed to eat dog shit. While most people didn't believe the claims anyway, Ethan reached out and asked Idubbbz to back him up, since Idubbbz had actually visited Ethan's house in real life. Ian instead sat back and did nothing, obviously, which, pissed Ethan off. The most Ian did was sit on his podcast and say Ethan should just do nothing, all the while people are calling CPS trying to get Ethan's kids taken away.
Like, people go their separate ways all the time. Mm-hmm. Again, like, the worst thing you can do is feed into it.
So, for some reason, Ian decided he should make a Content Cop on Ethan to counter everything happening. Now, the very start of the video seemed normal, just a regular Content Cop intro. If anything, it was nostalgic. And then the video just immediately nosedived into utter shit. Ian, for some reason, filmed himself hanging out with Hassan and Frogan and co. I'm pretty sure Ethan had made the claim that Idubbbz was at the very least supporting what was going on by being silent. Well, now he's just straight up having a Congo line at the guy's fucking house. This is not the last of the Hassan glazing, by the way. He does that throughout the entire video. For example, Ian says that Leftovers was fine until they had to talk about a serious topic. That topic, of course, being Israel-Palestine.
Now, in his podcast with Hassan, Leftovers, they would mostly talk about surface-level progressive shit and make fun of right-wingers. And it was mostly that until they actually had to reckon with a very serious topic. I would say that Hassan was very well equipped to talk about that topic.
This is Rust. Bro! They fucking, look at this. They got the Palestinian flag that they painted under the helicopter with the Yemen flag. They fucking they start overtaking the ship. And they're like, guess what, dog? No more trade to Israel.
Call me crazy, but I think you're just wrong. Ian goes on to say that Ethan has just been unnecessarily burning bridges as of lately, when the bridges he's been burning are with people like Frogan, who openly celebrated October 7th happening. You may not have a problem with those things, Ian, but other people do.
Maybe if Ethan's able to get some help, maybe if he stops harassing other creators, maybe if he does these things, eventually he'll find peace and we can, rekindle our friendship.
No, dude. You just made a blatant hit piece on him. Guaranteed it isn't working and no one likes this video, but you still tried. Another thing too is that Idubbbz is on this cringe gay arc where he thinks all types of criticism is harassment. Yes, please Ethan, do not call out the millionaire living in LA who preaches about socialism while actively defending terrorism. That's harassment.
There would be an occasional froggy tweet where I'd be like, I agree with that, I'm not gonna endorse it, I'm not gonna retweet it or like it, but fair enough.
Yeah, Ian then goes on to say that Ethan has no idea what's on his feed.
You don't know what's on my feed. What the fuck is happening? For all you know, I only use the For You tab. For all you know, I only use lists.
But you just said that you're seeing these types of tweets when you talked about Froggy Tonic. Ethan may not have known, but we do now. You just told us.
My good fucking friends who I stood by after all these fucking years can't find a spine to speak up. You know why? Because they'll get murdered.
And what you're saying to me is that I'm a bad friend and I'm a piece of shit. I'm spineless. I'm cowardly because I am following someone on Twitter.
No, Ian, the reason Ethan is calling you cowardly is because CPS showed up at his house because of false claims your friends promoted. And Ethan asked you, someone who's been to his house and met his kids, to just say that it isn't true, and you completely flaked on him. And then, to make it worse, you just talk shit about him on your podcast, that saying Ethan should just ignore it. Speaking of CPS, if you actually scan through the entire video and look at the transcript, the CPS call is never brought up. Hell, the word CPS is never even mentioned. Child Protective Services is, but that's in a clip of Ethan. Ian himself never brings up anything that would make Ethan so, furious and why he wanted Ian's support in the first place. I feel like it's incredibly important context that's being left out of here for, honestly, malicious reasons. Ian tries to compare his situation with Ethan to a situation Ethan had with Trisha, where an Adam McIntyre called Trisha's child the spawn of Satan. The thing is, how is Ethan supposed to debunk the claim that Trisha's child is the spawn of Satan? That's an insult, not an accusation. But Bad and Panada made the false accusation Ethan's house is covered in shit, and Hassan and his friends backed this claim with legitimately no evidence. That is an accusation that you can debunk.
Of course I was going to stand by you. That's insane. It's absolutely insane and disgusting. But now you choose to hang out with people that would have a problem with you if you defended me.
I'm not going to assume that Hila knows, but I'll say it for anyone who doesn't know. Anissa is half Lebanese and half Irish. For anyone unfamiliar, the Irish have been on the receiving end of a lot of oppression and genocide. On the part of the Lebanese, they've received a lot of oppression and attacks from the IDF. So Anissa is very well familiar with the propaganda and the shit coming out of Israel.
They aren't asking you to defend their political stances. All they're asking you is to say their house isn't covered in dog shit like your former editor is saying it is. And like all your new friends are saying it is. The way I see it, there are two reasons why you wouldn't defend Ethan here, Idubbbz, and it's either because you agree with the shit these people are doing, or Ethan's house is actually disgusting. And we know that second one is false. Also, Ian says his wife is half Lebanese. Apparently, according to her, she's only 8% Lebanese and 50% Irish.
People can say things that they don't mean. People can say things because they want internet clout and attention. I don't know, I think they're both probably guilty of saying things that they don't mean for internet clout and attention. Right now, one's a little bit more fucking nasty to me.
I mean, it just really goes to show that this video is made purely because Ian got his feelings hurt. Like, that's the most clear-cut example I can see. The most psychotic part of this video, though, is when Ian talks about how Ethan was pissed they reached out to him, only for Ian to just ghost them.
So yeah, the last thing we wanted is this guy getting pulled into this mess, and you guys don't give a fuck. Would it have been nicer and more supportive to say, we don't agree with the things he's saying and we support Ethan and Hila? Sure. Like, yeah, that would have been a nicer thing to say. Our silence means something. It means that we would like to pause this relationship.
Yeah, I know you just had CPS called on you and you want us to back you up, but, you know, I really think we should put a pin in our relationship. You're psychotic. You're crazy. You're demented. In fact, Idubbbz actually goes full steam ahead and just completely torches the bridge.
No, I'm friendly with you, and I'd say I'm a light friend because it's been pleasant hanging out with you. I've enjoyed your content over the years.
Yeah, you know, that's ignoring the fact that you've been on his podcast, you've been to his house, you've met his children, and that you've known each other for 10 years. Yeah, guys, he's just a diet friend. This didn't really mean much to Ian.
I feel very insulted, and I feel defensive, and I feel like I am speaking up for a lot of people who have problems with you.
I wonder who that is. And he just continues to say that criticism is harassment. I mean, this guy is just cucked. I don't know what else there is to say.
Idubbbz is streaming this story about our kid
I'll show that, yeah.
getting Giarda from the dog, whatever.
I'm sorry, I'll accept this take, this position from anyone except you guys. You have laid the groundwork for this type of streaming, which is watching people's shit and giving your unfiltered reaction to it.
Bro, they are not mad that Denims is a reaction streamer. They're mad that Denims is backing up false claims that led to people trying to take away Ethan's children, you fucking dishonest hack. There's no way you could hear this and phrase it like this without being malicious. Denims, Hassan, and all of them were backing up this claim that led to CPS coming to his house. To try and even phrase this as anything else just has to be malicious.
There isn't a single person that I respect who would give a fuck if I publicly said that Ethan and Hila are great with their kids Ethan and Hila didn't kill their dog, and Ethan and Hila wipe their asses or don't have giardia or whatever the prompt is. No one would care. The only person who would care is me, because I'm like, why did I tweet this out? I'm not tweeting out because I'm not your fucking lapdog.
Hey Ethan, I know it cost me nothing to defend you, and I already said it would have zero negative impact on me at all, but I'm not going to defend you because, why would I do that? You just have to be fine with him calling CPS on his kids. That's the only solution I can think of. Instead, actually, Ian just downplays this whole thing to, oh, Ethan and Hila don't wipe their ass. No, the claim was that their kids were eating dog shit, you fucking monster.
If you maybe accepted the phone call and we talked about it, you could have asked me, hey, what are your principles? And I can tell you the way I've been behaving is exactly in line with my principles.
Ian, whatever your principles are have to be terrible if this is the type of person you are, or those are the type of people you associate with. Fuck you and your principles.
Oh, also, I can't forget about Matt Lieb. Matt Lieb is in this middle tier. His valuable association is Rhett and Link. So Rhett and Link, conveniently, are also in this category of popular and powerful men who Ethan does not want to burn bridges with.
Matt Lieb, for those of you who don't know, has actually just flat out platformed Bad Empanada and has openly joked about Ethan losing his kids. By the way, have I mentioned Bad Empanada played a terrorist simulator game where he kills Ethan and Hila Klein? I feel like that's something else that wasn't really brought up but is important to add to the conversation.
I'd like to pay tribute to Ethan Klein and the new Twitch TOS that declares Zionism. Zion is a slur. I'd like to pay tribute to him by playing the first in Al-Aqsa video game where you kill Zionist soldiers as a Palestinian resistance fighter. This game was geo-blocked in the UK on a request from the Counter-Terrorism Internet Referral Unit. Ethan Klein would think, this game is so anti-Semitic. Where do they keep the secretaries? In here? I'm hunting for secretaries right now.
Now, this part is absolutely crazy. Ian plays the clip of Hassan saying America deserved 9/11.
America deserved 9/11, dude. Fuck it. I'm saying it.
And he plays the clip of Ethan saying he took this as a joke, like edgy humor. And Ian instead points out that there's no way this could be taken as a joke, which, I feel like you can make that argument. I don't think it's a bad point. It's probably one of the first things I agree with you with. But then he immediately overshadows this point by backing Hassan's claim up.
That's not them trying to be funny. I can understand why you would conflate the two. That is someone who is extremely frustrated and passionate about a particular topic. In this case, American imperialism and terrorism. You could have looked into that. You could have talked to Hassan a little bit more and found out what his international politics opinions are, but you wouldn't even need to do that.
He goes on to say that Ethan should have looked more into Hassan, but bro, I don't care. You just justified this guy saying America deserved 9/11. That's what you did. This is like saying that there's benefits to the Holocaust. Oh wait, your wife did that.
Is experimenting on 10 children to obtain a cure for thousands of kids' lives justified? That's a really hard question, and I think if people are being 100% honest, they'd give you a different answer than what you're expecting. As terrible as the Holocaust was, obviously it was horrendous, and how disgusting the doctor was that did the experiments on gay people, handicaps, twins. I think that's, and obviously they were obviously Jewish, or they did it on Jewish people. They found a couple of really groundbreaking discoveries through that experimentation.
I mean, this is crazy. The man who learned empathy at 30 is justifying terrorism. And I guess at this point in the script, Ian decided that he didn't look pathetic enough, so he decided to make himself look like a complete cuck. Ian talks about an apology Ethan made a while ago in regards to QT Cinderella, which Ethan has retracted since. That apology was reviewed by a psychologist, and he gave it a 10 out of 10. And Ian is so soy that he flew out to Seattle to see this guy in person just to try and get Ethan's grading changed from an A to a B.
I don't know if this came from a good place or not, but I came up with the idea of getting Ethan's grade changed from an A to a B at least. So I went to visit psychology in Seattle. I'm not confident that Kirk will change his grade, but it's worth trying.
And the best part is that it didn't happen.
Okay, Idubbbz, I hear you. You're in the room with me right now. I hear you. I hear your request. I understand it. I can understand where it's coming from. And I I guess, have a policy that when there is a grade for an apology, I am just grading that discrete apology as I see it without taking any consideration of prior or future behavior.
Unfortunately, Kirk did not change his grade.
To round the video off, Ian got everyone who hated Ethan, besides Hassan, to say one nice thing about him. And when Ian himself had to speak, he just cries about what it's like to be bullied online for being a couple.
Dynamic of Ethan and Neil, I'm like, fuck, it's really hard to be a couple online and see people attacking your partner, and it's like, okay, like if you come to their defense, that doesn't always help them.
He's not talking about Ethan and Gila in this instance. He's talking about himself and Anissa because they're the ones that are hated. Like, I need you guys to understand that this guy used to be one of the most well-respected commentators on YouTube. Another thing actually is this whole segment is supposed to be like, oh, look at these people still care about you, Ethan. You should come back to our side. We want you back. Turns out a clip leaked of Sean the Black saying that
we're watching Hassan watch it, and like I watch Hassan watch it, and Hassan doesn't have a nice thing about Ethan. And the chat asked what I'm thinking. I'm like, wait, you didn't do a nice thing about Ethan? And he was like, no. And I'm like, wait, that was an option? I could have just said no. Mr. Charitability over here. Mr. Charitability over here said no to saying a nice thing about Ethan, but I did. All right. All right, dude. All right.
With that, though, the video's over. It ends with Idubbbz in tears. This was fucking atrocious. He lied constantly throughout the video. He legitimately actually took everything out of context, as opposed to how Hassan and co just cope and say that's what the content nuke is. And he never once brought up the CPS call. Complete pathetic fucking loser. Obviously, this video didn't go over well. It apparently has more dislikes than likes as of this moment. It's been shit on by every commentator on the platform. It was a completely horrible video, and to desecrate the corpse of Content Cop to make this shitty breadtuber video is shameful. It's also done nothing but set Creator Clash 3 on a sinking path. Like, if that does any better than Creator Clash 2, I will be shocked. With that, though, I'm going to end the video. I don't know, join the Discord, follow me on Twitter, and subscribe, I guess, or Ian will fly to your house so he can cry about how him and his wife are getting bullied online for being awful people. Anyway, I don't know. Later.